Hey guys, I'm your host Jabari Lewis Smith, and this is the Tendo Show. I will be looking into Kirby Star Allies, which was released on March 16th. For many people, this title is a highly loved and precious one. For old players familiar with the Kirby saga, expectations for the game is high. For new players jumping into Kirby, they are in for a ride with one of Nintendo's biggest powerhouse players in the history of Nintendo. Whether or not Kirby Star Allies lives up to the player's standards is totally up to the player. I would love to share my thoughts on it, but first let's take a look at this awesome theme song.
Welcome to the Tendo Show, and I can see that we're all on a roll. There will be good cases and bad, but I can say since you're here that I'm really glad. And Nintendo we all know and love, they produce games from heaven above, like Kirby, Link, Zelda, and Mario. But if the game sucks so much ass, let's be sure to put them all on blast. Wait to see what we have for you right here at the Tendo Show.
Far, far away in a galaxy actually not too far from planet Popstar. A mysterious hooded man begins his evil deeds upon a giant crystallized but corrupted heart. Casting a spell, he sends heart shards across space, raining upon different worlds. Confused by the events, characters that we know and love are suddenly corrupted and filled with malintent when these hearts enter their bodies. But only the pure of heart, our hero, is unaffected by the effects of the heart. Now it's Kirby's job to figure out what exactly is going on and save his friend from this new evil that has appeared. It won't be easy, but Kirby will always move onward. Let's get into the history of how Kirby was created. I found an interesting article from a year ago posted by Kotaku, which explains how Kirby came to life. I will summarize it here, and I'll also provide a link to the article so that everyone can get the full story. The origin of Kirby began over 25 years ago. Masahiro Sakurai was tasked by Nintendo when it was still a young company to create a game that would appeal to all players that would be easy and fun for all. Sakurai concepted ideas such as flight to easily maneuver through obstacles and also the ability to absorb enemy powers. Sakurai actually developed most of the game without the lead character as we know him today. Simply as a placeholder, he created a puffball-like character and demonstrated an early version of the game to the company. The company liked the character so much that Sakurai kept the placeholder character. Different colors for the character was imagined. Shigeru Miyamoto imagined the character as a yellow character, but Sakurai always imagined it as pink. When it came to naming the character, Kirby's original name was Po-Po-Po, and the first game was titled Twinkle Po-Po. But the company wanted it to appeal more to a Western audience. A lot of names were thrown out there, and even the name Gasper, which doesn't appeal to me at all. But at the same time, Nintendo was being sued by Universal for copyright infringement of Donkey Kong. Universal saying that Donkey Kong was a copy of King Kong. Nintendo ultimately won the case thanks to the lawyer known as John Kirby. And as you can see, Nintendo named Kirby after the lawyer who saved Nintendo's ass. And there you have it. Now Kirby has expanded to many other games and became one of Nintendo's powerhouse players. Kirby Star Allies right off the back is full of beautiful colors. The design concept is the same as previous Kirby's, but with new mechanics to keep the game fresh. If you're familiar with older Kirbys, then you will know that sucking up your enemies and gaining their abilities is the key mechanic to maneuvering through levels and defeating enemies in the game. In this game, you are able to gain friends who fight alongside you in your quest. These friends are crucial and require you to have them to enter some of the doors. In order to gain a new friend, you have to throw a heart at an enemy, in which they will give up their evil deeds and join your team with love. And guys, it's a little weird for some of the things they do with your friends. When they first are added to the party, you give them a little hug, you know, sharing a little love for your party members. But when it comes to giving your buddies health from items you pick up, you pretty much go up to your injured team member and kiss them. Yeah. Okay, cool, I guess, but it gets weird when you're kissing one of your mortal enemies. Yeah, this game really emphasizes the love of friendship, which is a beautiful message to players, especially to younger children who are playing this game. Even if maybe there is some friends with benefit feels going on, but with your friends, you really do kick ass with them. They are helpful as hell, and upon reaching obstacles, they really make everything easier. Also, you can do some pretty awesome special attacks, which deals a lot of damage and or take out many enemies at once. Not only can you gain buddies in the game, Kirby allows for 3 other friends to join in the fun. So grab a friend and... so grab a friend and... That's right. Much better. Now grab a friend and let's have some fun! With your friends, there are platforms to engage you and your buddies into a special sequence, which varies depending on the level. You can use the friend bridge to help a key holder unlock a special door. You can use the friend circle to burst through hard surfaces, forging a path. You can also use the star mode, in which you take flight on Kirby's star and shoot through enemies and walls. You can even switch between your buddies to use their abilities to get through obstacles in the game. You will also be able to go to the Dream Palace, where you can actually choose from characters such as King DDD, Waddle or whatever his name is, and Meta Knight, and use them as allies to assist you on your adventure. There aren't too many items in the game besides delicious looking foods to gain health, and even a lollipop which gives you invincibility for a short time, just like the star power up in Mario games. There's not too many items, but there are a couple fun game modes to play, some are geared towards multiplayer minigames, such as this meteor baseball game, where you gotta smack the hell out of a meteor as far as you can to destroy a bigger meteor that seems to be coming down to destroy the planet. Or you can play the wood chopping minigame, which you have to chop as much wood as a woodchopper could chop wood against your wood chopping friends, while avoiding hindrances which will slow you down. Another game mode is basically the time trial mode, where you go across all the levels in the game as fast as you can. You can choose any character and support characters that you want, and you must gain power-ups that will improve your speed, strength, and health. This is actually a good way to collect as many puzzles as possible to fill up your puzzle haul. And even though this isn't the main game mode, you should finish it for a surprise. The last mode deals with only boss fights, but changing to higher levels, Kirby spices up the match, making bosses difficult. The key to the game is endurance. This is actually something like taking straight out of Super Smash Bros. Melee. Some of my favorite things about the game are the lengths of the levels. They are not too long nor too short. They progressively get longer as you change between levels, and there are always interesting concepts and obstacles that are thrown at you. Also, the cinematics of the game is pretty awesome. I like to see all the power-up sequences that happen, the cutscenes, and the dialogue in the game. There are various weapon skills you can learn and different ways to use them, which always keeps me interested in the enemies and their powers. In the menu, you are also able to look at different ways to use these skills. I personally didn't use it much and discovered new attacks and usage of the weapons on my own. Another thing I like is just how cutesy the game is! What? What's wrong with that? I'm a kid at heart. Problem? Now for some of the things that I hate about the game. Well, there isn't much. This was a solid game. The only 2 things I would have to say is how easy the game was. I never died much. 9 times out of 10, I died from simply not knowing where I was and falling into a hole or something. At the end of the game, I had over 150 lives to spare. That being said, the game isn't challenging enough. Some of the bosses did kick my ass a little bit, but most of the time I defeated them first try with ease. Matter of fact, my buddies in this game would usually do most of the work. The real challenge lies within the boss fight game mode, where you can change the difficulty of the bosses, but even with that, it's still pretty easy. But to be honest, Kirby games are not aimed towards more experienced gamers, it's aimed towards all players. One last thing to mention is the length of the game. You get to go through 4 through 5 different worlds, but it all seems really short. Maybe another 3 more worlds like Mario games would be more satisfying when it comes to game length. You get about 6 to 8 hours of gameplay in this story mode, which isn't bad for Kirby games, and in those 6 to 8 hours or so, you will enjoy the fun storyline that they have created for you. Well, there you have it, Kirby Star Allies. It's a fun, colorful game that is fun for all and gives a satisfying feel to veteran players and new players alike. The game may be a bit too easy for some, but making an extremely challenging game wasn't Nintendo's motive from the start. The history of Kirby is very interesting and inspires me to read into the origin of other favorite Nintendo games. By playing Kirby Star Allies, you will notice a lot of familiar game modes and concepts in Super Smash Bros., mainly most of the time, which of course HAL Laboratory is a big part of Smash Bros. What? Smash! Anyways, check it out.